About the box office here, and we have a pretty, it's an okay week. You don't have the big hitters, but you do have the Nun 2. So the Nun 2 is gonna probably make money. This movie, according to sources, costed $40 million to make, which means this movie needs to make $100 million to break even. Of course, you know, so again, there isn't really any very reliable sources, but there was one source on like one site. It was like one of the mainstream sites that said 40 million. So that this movie needs to make $100 million to break even, and this movie is doing pretty well domestically and internationally. It has yet to release in various markets as well, including France, including Hong Kong, and Japan. So this movie is gonna probably make money at the very end. So Warner Bros. Will finally get its second W because I think Warner Bros. Makes all of these movies, and of course, Warner Bros. Can continue its framework of the Meg and Barbie of abandoning the Blu-ray and DVD color pack with the Nun. If you didn't see the pre-orders for that movie, because yeah, I think they're really trying to phase out DVDs, which is more likely as well. So yeah, that Nun 2, is gonna make some money. So Equalizer free. Equalizer free is having okayest ratings. It's doing like the other movies at the box office. Okay, if you compare it to the other movies, Equalizer 2 and the Equalizer 1, or it's doing basically the same as the other movies. Or both the first and second movie made $190 million. Ended up making $190 million as well. But if the movie doesn't pick up internationally, there's a strong possibility. But it actually does. It usually does better domestically than internationally. But of course, it does it for Faith and Equalizer 1 and 2, are doing better. But if you unadjust it for Faith, the movie is basically doing the same as the first and second movies at the box office. But it is doing worse day by day than the first two movies, so it might open slightly below. It might end slightly below $100 million at the domestic box office. This here compared to the first and second movies, which are currently at $64 million. Again, Eagle Eye defeated Once Against two movies, on a second weekend, which were going to take money away from the Equalizer free. But yeah, that is about the Equalizer free here. And My Big Fat Greek Wedding free. This is considered a really, really, really bad movie. Again, why they make another My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie? Okay, it's beyond me. Okay, it just seems that the first movie was a runaway success. Okay, it was a runaway success. Okay, the second movie did okay at the box office. It didn't really do anything special, but the first movie was such a runaway success. They said, we'll get to past worldwide box office numbers. Yeah, let's make two sequels to this. Okay, let's make a sequel to My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Okay, again, the title is so weird. It's why do we have three movies? Why do we have now we have a trilogy of films called My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Are you really happy about yourselves, guys? Okay, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Okay, this movie is likely gonna flop as well, and is likely gonna lose money. Next is Jawan, which is an Indian movie. It's doing alright at the box office. I think this is an Indian movie. It doesn't look like an Indian movie, but it sounds like an Indian movie. Yeah, it is an Indian movie. Oh, it's also made by T Series. Oh yeah, T Series is taking over the box office. So yeah, this is an Indian movie. It's doing basically as expected for an Indian movie. So, you know, in the U.S. box office. So it's just doing expected for a major Indian movie. It also has one of the highest per fetus as well. It's also made by T Series as well. Next is Barbie. The movie has cost $1.4 billion. Again, considering all the L's Warner Bros. Has taken, they're gonna have to have a W for once. But Warner Bros. Is suffering the most besides Disney, of course. But Barbie fell only down to fifth place at the global box office. Okay, mostly due to the being new movies coming out that actually compete with Barbie. Next is Blue Beetle. No one's watching this movie. It's gonna lose a lot of money. Simple as that. Next movie is Gran Turismo. This movie is a box office failure at this point, or as they call box office disappointment. No one went to go see this movie. Again, this movie sounded uninteresting. Like they made a movie about a gamer who became a racer. Like instead of something about the actual game. I don't know if Gran Turismo has any lore behind it whatsoever. But yeah, this movie was unnecessary. Okay, they could have just made this a documentary instead of some movie that no one was gonna go see. So next is Oppenheimer. The movie's gonna probably cost $900 million. The movie's doing pretty well in China. Okay, I know some YouTubers are gonna be roving about that, but the movie watching in China. But the movie has made $30 million at the box office in China. Of course, it's gonna probably make even more. Now, the movie has made, it's continuing to make a lot of money. Could Oppenheimer hit $1 billion? There's a possibility it could. If it does well enough in China, has good legs in China, it could. It could make $1 billion. But we'll wait and see. The movie is now nearing $1 billion at the box office as well. So yeah. But there's a high possibility that the movie ends up in the $900 million mark. But again, it is possible that Oppenheimer makes $1 billion. It really depends on how well it does internationally next week and how well it does in China next week. So, next is totals. This movie is catching up to its budget, but again, internationally, this movie is still continuing to struggle. It only has Japan left, and I don't know how big Japan is for TMNT. It also has Australia. It also has Watch in Australia, which also helped its international numbers as well. But this movie is gonna need to make, a couple $20 million more to break even. Which means this movie at this point, similar to Elemental, is a loss. Which means it is a box office failure, but it is gonna lose some money in the theaters. That's essentially what this movie is becoming now. Okay. As well. You can technically count Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania and Little Mermaid remake as losses as well. But Little Mermaid was like a $70 million loss, which is still pretty big. But Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania could also be a loss as well. But I don't see anybody watching that movie on streaming because it's complete ass. So, yeah. Next movie. Here. And then is Bottoms. I don't think anyone cares about this movie. Of course, the critics like, oh my god, this is such an amazing movie, but no one's going to see this movie. They even watched it in over 1,000 fans and it had to decline from last week. It really showed that there wasn't really much interest in this movie to begin with, and also, your movie was gonna flop if you knew that this movie had been involved in cocaine, bro. And why, and also apparently this movie is about goes within yeah. This movie's just yeah. I've definitely never seen this movie. Bottoms. Okay. Next in the Meg 2. The Meg 2 continues to its box office reign of terror. And it's not gonna pass $400 million globally. But this is huge numbers for a movie that Rotten Tomatoes said was one of the worst movies of the year. So, I guess Rotten Tomatoes is, of course, not the end all and be all for movies as well. Especially if a movie has a strong international performance, like The Meg. Okay, it's not just doing well in China for $114 million, but doing well in Mexico, UK, Spain, France, Germany, Italy. And the net profits for the movie overall has reached around $60 million. As well. So this movie is a box office success. Next is Strays. No one's going to see this movie. It is picking up internationally now. I guess, but this movie is going to be a box office failure. So next is Haunted Mansion. This movie's basically dead now. Okay, ain't no way this movie's making any more money anymore. So yeah, no, look at how much money it made in Poland. No money at all. It made the most money in France, in UK, and Japan, as well. Here, but Disney is a dead brand, so yeah, can't wait. Look forward for the next box office failure. Let's see how well. I want to see how well the Little Mermaid did in Japan. Okay, how well did it do in Japan? Like to say, oh, it only made 23 million in Japan. It's still the second highest market for a Little Mermaid, but even with, they said the movie made $100 million. The movie made no money in Japan. It made none. It made zilts. Okay, it made zilts. Okay, and then we can talk about Elemental. They basically took out Elemental off of all the feeders essentially because Labor Day was over, and Elemental is basically dead internationally as other movies are coming out. So Elemental, they have adjusted the final gross for the movie, which will only be $476 million for this movie. Which means this movie is still going to lose money in the theaters around, $24 million. Which means, very similar to TMNT, the animated movie, the movie is a wash, which means the movie will make money through streaming, Blu-ray, and other video formats like digital, as well, as people are going to want to watch this on digital as well. So yeah, I think Disney's like hoping that this movie might be like a Encanto level success, like Encanto was. The movie is finally gonna be releasing on Disney Plus soon, so we'll wait to see what happens with its Disney Plus debut. So yeah, that's about the box office here, and yeah, goodbye.